I think we've got this going on. Possibly, maybe. Not sure if I'm dancing to the music in my head by way of speakers or the headphones, I should say, or if it's actually coming through for you. And I think it's probably important to check. So let's see what the audio inputs are actually getting here. Microphone should be one. Now I think the music's coming through for you. Makes all the difference in the world. One little switch. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro, former police officer. I had served for the Toronto Police Service in various capacities for just under 25 years. I left at the end of August. I miss it a lot. And I still get to jump in here and say hello, answering your traffic and police questions, almost like I was at work, but not getting paid. I hope you're having a great night, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. And drop in and ask questions, because that's what we do here. We answer those questions and we have fun doing it. Now, I'm just setting up some windows so I can see exactly what is going on. I'll be able to see your chat. Actually, you know what I should do? I should go in here, open up the TikTok from another. There we go. Okay. Make sure I'm in the right profile. I find it so much easier to see TikTok questions from a TikTok device. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go away. No, wrong thing. I'm going to go and check it out. Here we go. I can see it here. Hey, there we go. And I can see it here. Hey, Toronto Road Cams, what's going on? I saw that video you posted. What was up with that semi going round and round at at an event that was obviously not a sanctioned one, but that was interesting. I always find interesting things on TikTok. I never am I disappointed at finding stuff and things. Let's see here. We got Hi says, thoughts on your old account? No one's been active on there. Yeah, that account, I left it for the Toronto Police, and they are possibly going to start doing more stuff with it. I really hope they do. It's got it's a huge account, and I hope that people start taking advantage of the fact that they can reach out to a whole bunch of people. But we'll see what happens. Let's see here. We got a couple things. Okay. Confirmation. Well, I got to move that logo because it interferes. Oh no, actually, I know what I can do. I can move this down. Hey, look at that. Solutions everywhere. We got R. Hugh says, now it's on. That's in regards to the music. And it gets better, Sean. I retired end of last October. That's amazing. Congratulations on your retirement. It's an adjustment, isn't it? Just having a different environment. Today I went for a walk in the woods. It was awesome. Things I would not be able to do if I was, at a desk at the office at 6 a.m. But, there's other ways to do things. What do we got here? Guts says, have you tried any Halloween fast food? I saw that Burger King has what do they have? It's the Addams Family purple burger and chocolate purple sprinkly. No, I haven't tried it. I did get the email about it, and I don't have any desire to try it. A purple bun on a burger. Why? No. I think I'll do without it. Mikey D wants to know if I'm using StreamYard. I am not using StreamYard. I'm using Ecamm Pro. In fact, if you want to see, if you're Mac-based and you want an amazing platform, this is all running on a Mac. There's no online service at all. It'll do interviews. It'll do all sorts of stuff. I can change my layouts. I can do tons of stuff. And if you want to check it out, I've got a referral link over on trafficcop.ca. I think it gets you a discount, and it may or may not give me anything, but either way, it gets you a discount. That's what's important. Let's see here. Brandon says, hey, Sean, I hope all is well. I got some challenge coins from NASA, like the space agency, not NASA. Anyway, spelled differently. NASA, the space agency, this past weekend. That's awesome. As many of you may know, although I have a green screen on behind me right now, I've got a big tray of a display thing of challenge coins behind me, and I do like challenge coins. They are very cool. So you know what? Send me pictures if you're posting them up on Instagram. I will keep an eye out for them. We got here. Oh, Davika says McDonald's had an E. coli breakout in the States. Stay away from bad food to begin with. I did hear about that. That's a multi-state thing. I think they said it was the sliced onions that are used on the quarter pounder with cheese or quarter pounder. That is not okay. I always talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, but I'm really moving into on another channel called Shap Rewired, which is on all the platforms and very new. So if you don't follow it, please go check it out. But I talk about this journey I'm entering into, dealing with health and wellness and just eating right and what they call biohacking. I'm learning to optimize my health, not just by eating right, but getting into preventative medicine. And I've subscribed to a product or a service called Life Force, and that's a whole different story. But the reason I bring it up is because I don't want to go to fast food. I'm very aware of the fact that fast food is good because it's fast, not because it's good, if you catch my drift. Anyway, let's see here. We have, I'm going to go here. It's easier to read here. Okay. Okay, 1 second. I see something about Krispy Kreme donuts. So Guts says you should try the Krispy Kreme donuts. I have tried Krispy Kreme donuts, and of the donuts on this planet, I got to say I think they're my favorite, but specifically the raspberry filled. But I'm not interested in having 9 million calories per bite. What is this? Hi wants to know why some state cops are more stricter than others, for example, Florida and Georgia. Well, every state has different laws. Every police officer and agencies have different priorities. State troopers that are primarily on the highways enforcing traffic laws are probably going to care more about you violating traffic laws than the police officers in the cities who are more focused on possibly gang violence or domestic abuse or whatever is plaguing their community, like drugs and other issues. So the most violent, the most egregious are going to take the priority of those officers, and they're going to probably turn a blind eye to the things that are low key because they've got such big problems to deal with. If they've got the time, I'm sure that all of them would like to deal with problems like traffic issues because they're important too. Just when you have to prioritize, you make decisions based on what you have bandwidth to cover. Yeah, I think that covers it. Let's see here. Canadian Dave's joined. I just saw you pop in and say hello. What do we have here? We got Ecamm Pro, interesting. I'm a Mac guy. Trafficcop.ca, Coolio. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, check it out. Mikey's going to have a look at the software that I use. Randy McNaught says, good evening, Sean. All the best from London, Ontario. Miss seeing you at 10 a.m. I might get into the routine of doing a little earlier show. This has been me. So what I've done since I've left the police service is I'm launching a couple of new businesses. One of them is a live stream and social media consulting business. And then in addition to that, working with a not-for-profit, talking about traffic safety. But that's a lot of my daytime stuff. So the evenings when I put the kids to bed, I can come hammer out an hour here with you guys. I want to do that. When I get time and when there's actual studio being put together, when that's all set up, I'll be able to do that from the office. And, more regular live streams could happen. Okay. Let's see what's next here. We got Daniel. Says, do you know if they ever went back to the full road test yet for the G or G2 test? I don't know. I know that they went through the simplified test, which basically took out all the duplication. So in the stuff that was G1, let me take the comment from Randy off the screen first. What they had is a G1, and the stuff that was covered in the G1, they didn't repeat. No, I'm mistaken. Sorry. The G test, they took the stuff from the G2 test and removed it from the G test. So if you did it once, a year before you did your G, you were good enough. And they did that to streamline and reduce the amount of time spent, I guess, in a car with a tester and just make the test easier because so many people were backlogged. And unfortunately, we've reduced the quality of the testing. It wasn't necessarily perfect before, but it's less good now. But I have to look into that to see if they've ever brought it back to the norm. Things that I need to add to my list of things to do. Thank you for the question, Daniel. Avu Media wants to know, what do you want to know? It's scrolled up. Coming back. When I'm getting pulled over, can I provide a picture of both my insurance and proof of ownership? The answer for both of those is no. You are required to provide the following. You're required to provide the actual driver's license upon demand by a police officer, and that is the actual driver's license card. no reasonable facsimile meets the requirements under the law. In terms of the ownership document, you can have the original or a photocopy. The photocopy has to be a true copy, both front and back of the document. And the insurance is the only thing that you can have an electronic copy of. However, it's not an electronic copy like a photograph. It's an electronic copy provided through a secure server, a secure app that's provided by the insurance provider, and that is where you can do it. That's the only, and so not all insurance companies provide that service. Mine just emailed me and said that they are finally doing it for me. By the way, if you don't already follow me on VoiceOver Cop, please do. More the merrier. It's always great to have more people as part of the fam. But I do this on my own time because I don't work for the police anymore, and I do it from the comfort of my basement until the studio is ready. But if you want to stay in touch and you want to get notified when I go live, make sure you put notifications on. And I'm talking about TikTok. Many people don't realize there's a notification option. You put that on, and then you'll get notified when I go live. And of course, likes help more people find the live. So if you tap that screen on TikTok until your finger goes numb, that'll tell more people that we're here and ready to talk about stuff and things. What do you think of this as a logo? This logo is this a ChatGPT generated traffic cop logo, and I thought it was fun. Yeah. What do you think? All right, moving back to more stuff and things that you want to know about. Let's have a look. Let's see if the eyes work. All right, scrolling back. All right. Are you a Canadian policeman? I was a Canadian police officer. I left in August of this year, and now I'm a former Canadian police officer. I still know a bunch of stuff and things, and I like to share that information with you all so you can, know stuff before you do stuff and avoid getting charged for stuff that might change your life, not only in your wallet, but, a lot of this stuff when you get caught for stuff. And the easiest way to avoid getting caught is not to break the law. I have to tell you that I'm not an advocate for breaking the law. I want you to know what the rules are so you can make, good decisions and not break the law rather than try and find ways to avoid getting caught. Let's see here. GJSK says, can we do a light smoke tint on headlights and taillights in Ontario? Headlights, absolutely not. You can't tint them at all. There's a specific charge for putting any film or coating on a headlight. When it comes to taillights, you could get away with it because the regulation says 150 meters, discernible at 150 meters. So if you put a light smoke, it's possible that you might still meet the requirement. I say possible. The light, the way it is from the factory, meets the requisite by the government or by the act. If you change it in any way, shape, or form, you're reducing its functionality. It's a capability of producing sufficient light to pass the test. An officer could, making observations of the taillight, say that's not enough. And then it would be up to you to prove that it is. And really, it's you arguing in court and wasting your time. How badly do you need a smoked taillight? It's just not worth it. Now, some people, a friend of mine who's a TikToker says, just up the wattage or the power of the bulb that you put in, and then you smoke it lightly, and then that compensates. You have enough light coming through when it is emitting light, but when it's turned off, it looks cool. That's for you to decide. But at the end of the day, it's about 100 being discernible at 150 meters. And discernible doesn't just mean seen. It means clearly distinct between full power and light power. And I mean light power being when it's just cruising, your light when you're doing nothing, just lights are on, your I don't know what that's called. Marker light, maybe that's what it's called. And when you depress the brakes, there has to be a clear definition between the two. And sometimes, I can tell you, I've been behind vehicles and you can't tell the difference. You can barely see them at all. Okay, what is next? Conservative Canadian Dave wants to know what your view on radar detectors and laser jammers is. Well, my view echoes the fact that they're illegal. So the law says they're illegal. Thus, I agree they are illegal because the law leads the way. Do I think they should be illegal? Absolutely. In fact, I think that the consequences for using them should be much, much higher. The reason being is these devices are clearly used so people can break the law. So you have a device that is being used to make you more dangerous and reduce the chances of getting caught for being more dangerous. So I think they're garbage and shouldn't be on the roads at all, and which is why we have laws that prevent you from using them. In fact, it's no matter how many times I say this, I can't remember if it's $170 or $180. I'm going to go with 170 because I think last time I said 180. Whatever it is, it's one of the two, and 2 demerit points. And of course, if a police officer pulls you over because they believe you have one in the vehicle, they can certainly search the vehicle looking for it. They can search the vehicle in search of it. Yeah. And then they can seize it. And that's not a good thing for you. Those things, the good ones anyway, are very expensive. You can't buy one, sell one, transport one, or use one in the province of Ontario. Shaggy says, you can try to be a police officer for fast food. I don't get it, but you had some laughing emojis, so I'm sure you're finding it funny. I don't get it. Okay, Ali says, best thing to tell a police officer when pulled over for no front plate. You can start by saying you're sorry and exactly why there's no front plate, and take responsibility for it, and then take the ticket for it and go pay it, and then go get your front plate fixed. There's no excuse for it. You are required by law in the province of Ontario to display two plates, the front and the rear. You're issued two, you got to show two. Simple as that. There's really nothing else to talk about on there. SK7 says, hi, how you doing? Query: if we have a right turn and other with green for T and I'm sorry, let's try this again. If we have a right turn light and other with green for T, through maybe, T for through, and only right. If you've got a right turn light and they've got a left turn, is it? I'm not picking up what you're putting down, my friend. Right turn light and other with green. Like, you're responsible when you're making a right turn to ensure you can complete your turn in safety. If there is another vehicle that's permitted to proceed through, you have to ensure that they can go through, because one of you is going to get charged. You're going to cause a collision. Now, they may also have responsibility. Like, if you are making a right on a green and they are making a left on a green, oncoming traffic to one another, the person crossing the live lane of traffic has a greater responsibility than you who's making a right turn. But you all have to be able to complete that turn in safety. Randy says, oh, here we go. Randy says, it would be great if the installers of tinting products would be charged under the HTA for installing just to make money. They need to be held accountable too. Got it. So, yeah, the deal is that they should be. And we've actually discussed, when I was with Toronto Police Traffic Services, the concept of holding them accountable. I think we could make that charge stick because they are a party to it. They know it's going to be used on a vehicle that's going to hit the road. So they're assisting in making that happen. I think it would be great to charge them. What they do now is they make a baloney little waiver saying you won't use it on the road, and they watch you drive in and they watch you drive out. They know it's a plated vehicle. I think they should. They're party to it. Do you have any way to flag dad jokes? This is Michael asking the question. So for those of you who are familiar with the daily live stream, that is no longer a daily live stream, Ask a Traffic Cop with the Toronto Police Service on Traffic Services on TikTok and other platforms, we would do dad jokes at the end of the show. I don't have a way. Oh, do I have a way to flag it? Oh, there's a star here. Can I do that? Hey, I think I can. I can favorite them. So yes, if you put a dad joke in, I will flag it, and then I will bring it up at the end. Apparently, I can even search the comments. This is really cool. I'm new to this platform for the purposes of live streaming. I mentioned Ecamm Pro earlier on in the show, and Ecamm Pro is something I've been using for years, but I've been using it primarily to record locally for multicam podcasts and for what else? For all my vertical videos. I have setups with overlays, and it's phenomenal software if you're Mac-based. But I've not been using it for streaming because within the police service, we had all sorts of security requirements. So I was using Restream, which is also phenomenal, but very web-based, and this is all local on the computer. But I can do so much more with this, and I'm multi-streaming right now using it, and just it's all going directly from my computer. There's no web-based host involved. I could go out to Restream, but I'm not currently using them because I haven't bought my own account yet. I'm going to flag this question because the question just came in from Zhao. I don't know if I pronounced your name right. We'll come back to you in a second because there's a whole bunch of people that are ahead of you on TikTok. Once again, if you're on TikTok, please like the live and subscribe, follow, and stay in touch. It helps it out, helps us out, helps more people find out. And that's what I want to do. I want to help more people. As many people as possible, in fact. All right. Northern Bear 67 says, heading to Toronto, not looking forward to it. Massive city, small town for driver. It is massive city, small town driver. Yes, got it. You're from a small town. It is intimidating to come to the city. And I got news for you to make it even worse for you. We have terrible drivers here. We have everyone who's really entitled and in a rush and not very friendly to one another. And that's my experience on the road. It's not a police thing. It's just what I see every day driving in my personal vehicle. People are kind of gross to each other. I was driving on the 400. I went up to Barrie to pick some stuff up from an auction. Shout out to King of the North Auctions. I love that place and spend way too much money there. But a number of people who work there have given me some shout outs, and I ran into a number of people who follow me, and they were there. So we were saying hello in the waiting line for our stuff to be pulled from inventory. Anyway, On the way back, a guy got on, and I don't even know what the exit's called, but not Innisfil Beach, further than that. There was an 18-wheeler in front of me. I was giving him time to accelerate, to get up to speed. And this dingleberry in a Tesla Model 3, he starts honking like, where do you want this giant truck that can't accelerate like a Tesla to go? He was such a dink. And then once he got on the highway, he crossed over the bullnose because he couldn't wait at all, Mr. Impatient there. He gave me the finger as he went by. I'm like, really? And then he slowed down because he didn't think I got the message. So he slowed down to give me the finger again for going the appropriate speed to enter the highway behind a giant truck that couldn't go any faster. Anyway, I hope he chokes on his own. Anyway, yeah, but in a friendly way, of course. Anyway, I got to get away. I want to yell. I want to be vocal about how much I dislike that person. But what I realize is that he was having a worse day than me because I'm generally happy and he hates his entire life. He has to. I mean, who does that? Anyway, moving on. So yeah, Toronto sucks for driving right now. But we're trying to make things better. All right. What do we got here? What? I do not know what Deluxe is talking about, but it doesn't seem like it's something for the show. If you saw the comment, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even know what that is. Okay, moving on. Davika says, how do we deal with stolen vehicles? Seems to be an epidemic. It's been a problem for a very long time. Listen, with stolen vehicles or preventing vehicles from being stolen, I think the best thing to do is make your vehicle as unattractive to car thieves as possible. Now, I don't suggest you do it. A friend of mine did in the bicycle world. When I was a kid, the guy that owned the bike shop bought very, very high-end bicycles for himself. Then whatever color it was, he painted it white and then painted polka dots, green ones, all over it. He wouldn't even lock that thing up. No one would touch it. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that for your vehicle, but I think it's an interesting tactic. What I think you do is you put on visible deterrents, like the club, like a bar that is on the steering wheel to make it harder to steal. Now, it doesn't stop them from stealing. They bring out electric grinders and cut it off in a few minutes, but it does add time, which adds risk, which means they have to work. And most criminals are, well, garbage human beings who don't want to work. That's why they're stealing your stuff. So they don't want to work harder. Thus, they go to your neighbor's house and steal their car instead of yours. And that's kind of the game you have to play. You have to make the vehicle less attractive to steal. Now, there are other things you can do by putting, hiding switches. They call them kill switches. It's a hidden switch that interferes with the ignition system. There's tons of things you can do like that. You can also, of course, put your keys in a Faraday bag to stop relay thefts where they put up an antenna in front of your door. There's things you can do to reduce the chances, but you're never going to eliminate it. If they really want it, they'll take a tow truck and drag the car off your driveway. Unfortunately, crime is a problem. We need more police to handle it, but we don't have enough police to be everywhere all the time. So it's going to be the courts that we have to rely on, where bad guys go to jail and stay in jail instead of getting out to steal more cars. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of. All right. Traffic Nerd says, is this the best app to watch live or YouTube? It's tough to say. I'm a TikTok fan, but if you go onto YouTube, you will actually be able to interact differently. Like your comments will be on the screen, so that may be better for you. It's definitely a different way of interacting. Can I make that bigger? I think I can. Woo! Look at that, it's bigger. So Zhao says, what use does the front plate actually have here? How come in other provinces they don't have the law? So simply put, it is there to make your vehicle easier to identify. That is really what it's there for. And it does a great job. Now, when the premier got into office, he said, I'm going to save money. I'm going to issue one license plate only, and that's going to cut off half the cost of manufacturing, which is true. It would mean less license plates produced, and thus it would save money. Only problem with that is he went to the Association of Chiefs of Police. I don't know if it was it might have been the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, and said, I want to do this. What do you think? And the learned chiefs said, we would like to have twice as many opportunities to identify vehicles rather than only from the back. It just makes sense. We have Amber Alerts. We have people that are trying to identify vehicles, whether they're stolen or missing persons or whatever the case is. Twice as many chances to identify vehicles when there's two plates. It just makes sense from a public safety perspective. Let's see here. So that was the question there. We got a dad joke for later, and that's from Michael. Thank you for that. What do we have here? Brandon says, I think people charged with stunt driving should lose license for 90 days with 30 vehicle impound, as people still aren't getting the message. And Brandon says the drivers in Florida aren't much better than here in Toronto or Ontario. So, yeah, right now, if you are charged with stunt driving, you get a 14-day vehicle impound and a 30-day license suspension. And why not make it 90 days like impaired driving? We're certainly seeing collisions and serious injuries and death as a result of distracted driving and stunt driving. So why shouldn't we make it as impactful to the person who's making a choice? Let's see here. We got more stuff down here. April Evelyn. What else happened here? On scrolling back. April Evelyn. I'm not ignoring you. It just scrolled up on me. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Why do they worry about tiny but not blinding headlight? I think you mean tint. Tint is different than blinding headlights. Both are important. You know, if you can't see through the windshield, is bad. If you can't see because there's shiny light in your eyes, it's also bad. Let's see here. Question: on private property, i.e. mall plaza, is it illegal to use phone? It's not smart, but it's on private property. So the answer to your question is the handheld communication device offense and handheld entertainment device and screen visible to driver only applies on the road. Stunt driving applies anywhere, just like impaired driving and criminal charges, but the charge for distracted driving, which is specifically having a cell phone entertainment device or screen visible to driver, that does not apply on private property. And you're right, it's not a good idea, but it is a thing. People do. Okay. Cordell, thank you for the gift. Let's see here. Ford is talking about traffic tunnel under the 401. Wouldn't this shut down the 401? I don't know. I haven't read up on it at all. I'm ignoring everything tunnel related. But I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, a lot of places have tunnels. Other countries have tunnels. They apparently work. But I know nothing about them. Let's see here. I use my phone on public roads too, not smart or legal, but I get bored in traffic. Well, I'm glad that you're accepting that you do things that aren't great. It's people do it. It's an addiction. People can't say no to their phones. I started driving when there were no phones. Like the technology for cell phones didn't exist. I remember when mobile phones, was I even 10? My friend's parents had a mobile phone. You had it looked like a handset, like a 1980s telephone with one button. You pressed the button and you got the operator and you said, hi, my number is ABC123, connect me, and you'd read them the telephone number and the operator would connect you. And then everybody else who had a mobile phone in their car could pick up their handset and listen to your call. Not exactly private, but interesting and so cool. And it wasn't illegal back then. Anyway. Front window tint regulation. This is from Newman. The answer is you can't have any tint on your windows at all in the province of Ontario. Zero, zilch, nada. And that's for any vehicle 2017 or newer. 2016 and older, you can have a tint strip across the top that is from 3 inches from the top of the window down to the AS1 line. Anything beyond that would be an unsafe motor vehicle. And of course, anything on a new vehicle 2017 or newer would be unsafe motor vehicle, so we could pull your license plates. Joanne has a question. If you don't renew your license, are you insured? Well, you're not licensed if you don't renew your license, and your insurance is on the vehicle, but they will not cover an unlicensed driver, so you're not licensed for you, the driver who didn't renew. But the vehicle is licensed, or is insured. So as long as your premiums are paid and you have a licensed driver behind the wheel, that vehicle could be driven on the road by a licensed driver. Just if you don't renew it, you can't drive it. I hope that answers your question. If it didn't, please rephrase it and we'll try and get to it. I do have to go in about 20 minutes because I have to go to a meeting. I know late night meetings, it's a thing now. Question: if I drive with a G1 with a 4-year full G driver beside me, how many passengers can I have in the car? You can have as many people as you have seats for. However, you cannot have anybody else in the front seat besides you and the supervising driver, who must occupy the passenger seat. So this means that if you're a G1 driver and your qualified G is in the front passenger seat and you have a bench with a seat between you, no one can be in that seat. However, if you have 3 seats in the back, you can have 3 people in the back. You cannot, however, drive between midnight and 5 a.m. That's something that you should remember. It's a thing. I didn't bring water down here? Oh, my goodness. Akram wants to know if a permanent resident can join the police. Yes. In fact, even if you're not a permanent resident, you can work as a civilian, but to be a police officer, you must be someone who has a permanent resident status or a citizen. And if you go to torontopolice.on, or actually it's been changed officially, I think, tps.ca/careers, that's where you get all the information for employment. Okay. What do we got here? Something just popped up on the screen. TikTok Universe Burrito. What just happened? Did I get a gift? Thank you very much. If you sent a gift, I appreciate it. What is this? Gus Lagrandeur says, are there any unreasonable delay arguments for a traffic ticket to go to trial? Absolutely. It used to be, if I'm not mistaken, 18 months. I think they extended it during COVID. I don't know where it's at right now. But there's something called an 11B application. And if it's been an unreasonable amount of time, whatever that unreasonable amount of time is generally accepted as, you can make an 11B application to have the trial essentially dismissed. Now, if you'd like more information on all the ins and outs of traffic, and I'm not giving you secret tips, but if you'd like to read a guidebook on how to deal with the court system, I would suggest you go to trafficcop.ca. I've got a link to the guide. It's called the Defendant's Guides to POA Court, and it's a government-issued document, and it's available for defendants, so you can understand what all the terminology is, and 11B application should be covered under there. Let's see here. Teddy Bear says, are motorcycles allowed to drive in the bike lanes to get around traffic jams and construction zones? If you mean bicycle lanes, no, motorcycles are not allowed to go into bicycle lanes. They're not allowed to circumvent traffic, driving where cars can't go. If you're talking about HOV lanes, which I'm pretty certain you're not talking about, HOV lanes, motorcyclists can be in HOV lanes. And HOV lanes are specifically the ones in the 400 series. The diamond multi-use diamond lanes, make sure you check the signs to know if that particular diamond lane accepts motorcycles. Okay, Jordan Edward wants to know if lane splitting and filtering is permitted in Ontario. It's not. It's actually not permitted anywhere in Canada. Lane splitting and filtering is either careless driving, stunt driving, or even criminal dangerous driving, depending on what the activity that the officer is observing, is determined to be by them. So if I see you doing something and I think it's careless, I'll charge you with careless. If I think it's stunt, based on the information that I've optically absorbed, I might believe that it qualifies for more, and you might get less fun tickets because of it. Yeah, it's a thing. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former Toronto police officer, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. If you've got questions, I tend to have answers, and I'm happy to help out. I'm doing this on my own time from the comfort of my basement, and I do this whenever I have some spare time so I can help you out. It's just all about helping you. That's all it is. Okay, what we got here? All right. Akram says, after M1 expires and I haven't passed my M2 yet, let's try that again. After M1 expires and haven't passed M2 yet, someone should pass M1 again. Oh, I see. So if you haven't got your M2 and you want to extend it, you could do your M1 again and get another 90 days or whatever that is. It used to be 70 days. I think it is now 90. Okay. Jen says, I had someone behind me just an hour ago and his headlights were yellow. I was blinded. Yellow's not illegal. White and yellow are both legal. The issue is probably not the color that blinded you and more the direction for which they were directed. So there is a lawful direction. Like they are to be adjusted properly so that they are pointed properly and not in your rearview mirror specifically. And it's also possible that if you had an older vehicle or one that doesn't have automatic leveling, if they had a heavy load in the vehicle, it could have pointed the headlights up, making them even more annoying. And that would have been unlawful. Okay. Iman says he finds the white light even blinding. It can be. Grewal, how's it going? Says, hey, Officer Shapiro. Hello back. Tigers 2K says, how many donuts do cops eat in a week? It's a very good question. It really depends on the officer because not every officer consumes donuts at all. In fact, some of them prefer chicken wings and other celery sticks. So you have to really have conversations with individual officers. It is a survey I've never conducted. Sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you to Big Smoke 3, who reminds those that are asking questions repeatedly to please not spam. It takes me a while to get through the ton of questions, and I do my best, but it takes time. Okay. Moto Brew says, Sean, glad to see you back streaming. Was always a pleasure running into you at the auto show. Thanks, Moto Brew. It is something that I truly enjoyed for the last number of years and plan on doing for many, many more, but it has to be, put into place with timing. But hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of me on multiple channels. One of those channels is Shap Rewired, where I'm doing talk about health and wellness and traffic and tech. Wait, traffic and tech? No. Travel and tech. But I'm having some fun with that. Lots of cool stuff that I'm experimenting with as I'm trying to hack the human genome. I'm just trying to lose weight and get healthier. But I'm talking about it there because I'm utilizing some services to get advice and seek out ways to optimize my health, not just the super simple eat less, move more, which also works, but I'm trying to do other things in addition to it. Okay. Moto Brew says, I'm that cow guy biker you saw on the street outside the auto show. I know exactly who you are now. And did we talk about your helmet cover? The one it's not legal. It's cool looking. The whole outfit's cool. But the helmet cover, not legal. I think we talked about it. Anyway. Davico wants to know if I would ever shave my beard. I have shaved my beard. I've gone through goatee, short beard, all sorts of things. My theory is this. I have never had my beard this long, like ever in my life. And because I don't have to shave it, I'm going to see if I can do some ZZ Top stuff and see where it goes. I'm also losing weight. And as a result of losing weight, my face is changing. And I'm thinking a big reveal might be kind of cool. So, I might shave my beard sometime in the future, but not today. Let's see here. Arun? I think it's Arun. Where do I upload videos, cops breaking traffic law for non-emergency? Well, first of all, you have to know that you may not be seeing them breaking laws for non-emergency. You may be seeing them doing things that are absolutely legal that you just don't like. So police are allowed to go through red lights as long as they activate their lights and siren and then proceed with caution when it's safe to do so. They can also exceed the speed limit. They can also do a bunch of things. But what laws do you have an issue with? Is it just because they're doing it and you can't, or because they're actually putting people at risk? Very often, they're doing things that you don't know what they're doing, and you make an assumption that they're doing it for nothing, just because there's no lights and sirens, that stay on. The biggest one that I hear about is them turning on the lights, going through the intersection, and then turning off the lights again, and they must be doing that just to avoid waiting at the red light. There's usually more to it than that. You're usually on the way to a call, and they're choosing to do it safely without waking up the entire neighborhood or causing panic. Because guess what? Turn the lights and sirens on, people do the darndest things. It's not usually safe. Gruel says, I'm feeling bothered at new address. And if I've missed the context, please DM me. I'd like to understand more what you're talking about. Blazer says, people camp in the intersection to turn left once the light turns red. I thought that was illegal. If you enter the intersection on the green, not the yellow, but the green, you are lawfully able to be there and then make your turn safely once it's done. Say hi, Frank. Hi, Frank. I haven't seen the message, but I got a text message because it is live, Frank. Last time Frank called me to say, is this really live? Anyway, if you enter the intersection lawfully and then you make the turn, you're actually obligated to exit the intersection once the light changes. Okay. Ryan has questions about the Suron. If it has turn signals, a VIN, which is a vehicle identification number, mirrors, etc., can it be registered as a low-speed motor vehicle? The answer is I don't actually know. Low-speed motor vehicles do have requirements. If it meets the requirements, then you would be able to register it. I wouldn't see a reason why you couldn't. But I believe that the VIN that it has is an off-road motorcycle VIN, and it may be prevented. I can tell you for certain it doesn't qualify as an electric bicycle under the e-bike laws. They're just far too powerful. They're very cool. And as much as I talk trash about them as e-bikes, because that's what people are using them as, and they're not, I think they're phenomenal machines that are really leading the way in terms of off-road dirt biking and that of electric ones. Yeah. Nigel Power says, where are you located? I am in Toronto, and I talk about Ontario law. Although I talk about traffic safety, that's pretty global, and policing in general. The laws that I reference are generally focused on Ontario law because that's the stuff I used to enforce when I was a police officer. What is this? Lorenzo Scott says, if I make a deposit on a private sale vehicle and change my mind, is the seller required to refund? Depends on what your agreement is. If you made an agreement that it's non-refundable, I would say it's a non-refundable agreement. I wouldn't give a deposit to someone unless I had a contract that stipulated exactly what the rules are. The rules of engagement, that is. But that is something that would be a private matter, not a police matter. And you would ultimately, if you thought you were entitled to your deposit back, well, you'd probably have to sue them in small claims court, which is when you make claims, last I checked, was under $20,000. It's just not fun. So my whole concept of buying stuff is to not buy things privately. I buy things from dealerships. I pay a little more, and I don't have the aggravation of things like you're discussing. Growall says, I like your live with a heart. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I miss doing this every day at 10 a.m. In uniform at the police station. So I'm doing it from home. Okay. Davika says, when people protest on road, don't they need a permit? It creates a mess. I fortunately have nothing to do with this anymore. And in fact, I really never had to deal with protesters because I just fortunately wasn't involved in it. Yeah, I don't agree with it. I'm not a big fan of protesting for any reason. And I don't like messing with people's ability to move. So I don't know. I don't think you can. Well, you can get parade permits. I don't know if you can get protest permits for the road. I think you'd be off the road. Anyway, I am not the right guy to ask about this. Jeff DeRoche. DeRoche? Did I say that right? Hi, Sean from Cornwall. Hi, how you doing from Cornwall, Jeff? Am I going to Cornwall soon? I'm going somewhere. No, I'm going somewhere else that starts with a C. Let's see here. Troy Blaine says, how come all plates are free, but farm plates, you still have to buy a sticker? Do you know why? I believe it's because it's commercial. And it's not all plates. So commercial vehicles are not free. Snowmobile plates are not free. Yeah, it's just private vehicles and motorcycles. And I think it's also including four-wheelers, ATVs, I think. But the reason I say that snowmobiles are not free is because Sergeant Murray Campbell has been very upset about this for a very long time. And I'm pretty sure that's the story. Beliza says, I got my G2 today. Congratulations to you. That's excellent. Your freedom starts now. You can drive without the joy of a supervising driver. Now just keep doing what you're doing and build on your skills. And in a year, go get your G. Good stuff. I'm happy for you. Let's see here. Hemi says, I got an HOV exit, RN, I don't know what you mean. Oh, ticket. HOV exit ticket. So what does that mean? You crossed over the line at the wrong place? Okay. I've never written that because I've never patrolled a highway with an HOV. What do we got here? Number one rule is be observant. Yes, so when you're doing your G2 test, yes, your head on a swivel, as we like to say, paying attention to everything. Davika says, road rage getting out of hand. It's funny, I was just talking to the Toronto Star about road rage, and it does seem to be quite an issue. People in general need to just treat each other nicely. It's a real problem when people are just worried about the me, which is a lot of people these days. Let's see here. Hunter Van Black says, me personally, I'm going to pit maneuver him. Okay. James Goodman said, what was your badge number? 99947 was my badge number. I quite like my badge number. 25. Did I have it for 25? I did have it for 25, just under 25 years. Mind you, they retire them now, so it's still my badge number. Dang it. It's still me. Let's see here. What do you miss most about policing? I got to say it's the people. I miss my blue family, the people that I used to spend time with every single day, even the people that would rotate on shifts that I didn't see on a regular basis. Those are people that I really value. They're good people who want to help others, and they were a joy to be involved with, on the same journey as officers, helping people. Yeah, it's the people I miss. I miss all aspects of it, but I miss my friends the most. Okay. That Cash Kid says, unless you have a written contract, it's buyer beware. I buy that. Woodall Engineering, how's it going? The question is, what's the best practice when pulled over? Interior lights on, radio off, hand on top of the wheel. In the States, they really get big on, keeping your hands visible. And when so many people carry guns legally, that's a really good practice. I will say that I definitely appreciate the people who don't ruffle around looking through things, putting their hands under the seats. Those tend to make us nervous. Lights on, don't do anything without permission. So if you're looking for your ID and it's in the glove box, say, hey, my ID's in the glove box. Would you mind if I get it? And then I can shine my flashlight and keep an eye on what's going on. For my safety and yours, that's what I would prefer. So that's really a good way to go. But wait for direction. What if I was just pulling you over to say you have a taillight out and I don't want anything, and you being just getting all freaked out because, I got to find out my stuff. Maybe you don't even need your stuff. So it really depends. Let's see here. Who did your logo? It's Ghost Producer. ChatGPT did my logo. I gave it a prompt. It gave me that, and I've been messing around with it. But it's by no means my logo. It's just a logo, and we'll see if that changes over time. Ant wants to know about questions. Can I ask a question? What you think about theft in stores? I think theft is disgusting. People shouldn't steal stuff. I think that those who steal should get caught and prosecuted, as I believe should happen to all criminals. Crime bad, right? Cop at heart forever. Let's see here. Greg Marshall, how's it going? I had a lady pass me on a 2-lane and then slow down today. People don't even know why they're driving anymore. They need to be the first one in the pack, but they don't actually. I don't get it. Lots of bad drivers. That's what we have. Lots and lots. 8:28. I got to go soon, but we'll keep this going for a few more. Let's see here. Okay. Very hard when the haters get on nerves. Which haters? There's haters everywhere. Ignore the haters. They're having a bad day because they have miserable lives. Let's see here. I'm an OTR driver and have been 38 years dealing with ignorant people on a daily basis. Troy, as long as I've been driving, I've been seeing people who can't drive on the road with me, but I've been seeing an influx or an uprising of the bad drivers of late. Akela Draconis, greetings and salutations. Good to see you, my friend. Let me put you on screen there for a second. There he is. Akela was historically the first person on every episode, along with Michael. They were the staples, the regulars. What do they call it? What George Bush Jr. said? My base. Just got back from Pokemon raiding. I thought it was training at first. Raiding. That is something I do not know about. So I will take your word for it. Okay. We got boom, boom, boom. If I get a 41 over and an 80, is there any chance I'll lose a license? If you get a 41 over, it's not stunt driving, but it's certainly speeding. They could also charge you dangerous, depending on what's going on. If they thought it was more than, if it was criminal dangerous driving, if there was more to it than just doing 41 over. But in an 80 kilometer an hour zone, you have to be doing 50 to trigger the stunt driving laws in Ontario. Thoughts on amendment auditors? Generally speaking, I think they're annoying. If there's something that's really being done wrong, then they're doing something. But when they're out there provoking the police and wasting the police resources to try and make a point or try and see what'll happen, I find them most of them to be ignorant. I will say that sometimes they're right in that they're allowed to do things, but I don't understand the whole premise of going and being annoying. There's got to be better things to do. Now, again, if they're uncovering corruption, I think it's great. But if they're just being difficult to be difficult, I will say this. I like cameras. I like cameras catching good people doing good things. I like cameras catching bad people doing bad things. I like the truth. That's what I like. All right. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff just updated. What's my dream vehicle? It's always been the Hummer H1. I've always wanted one. I've driven one. I think they're cool. But I don't know if I want one anymore. I was talking to Cam Woolley about it a while back, and he's like, you know what? They're more expensive to operate, and they don't do anything really great because he's owned a bunch of them. He actually was talking about getting an old military Jeep. We were talking about a couple of interesting vehicles, but I don't know if there's anything I want right now. Actually, I want the new Expedition. It looks awesome. The brand new one looks awesome. But is it my dream vehicle? No, I just want a functional vehicle. Okay. Davika says, I work insurance. If convicted of stunt driving, your premiums go crazy. Absolutely. And so they should. Don't stunt drive. Why they make it 40 over in speed limits under 80 and 50 over in speed limits 80 up? Who should ever get that fast? Why don't we just do the same thing for stunt driving for 30 over? Why do we have to wait till 50 over or 40 over? Why do we give people 30% over the limit on the highway? It's ridiculous. And Kayla says, here's one I see all the time at work. You turn on red, not entering traffic lanes using crosswalk. Right. They just buzz around on a red light. See it all the time. Don't know why anyone would think that's legal. It's not. Don't do it. But it bugs the crap out of me. And the one of people making right turns on red lights without stopping. Huge pet peeve. Yes. Okay. Boop-a-doo. Cordell just got the #1 gifter badge. I don't know when that actually popped up, but thank you very much. It's kind of you. That's one thing that changed since I left, is that now I can receive gifts, and I couldn't before because we worked with TikTok to specifically have anybody who is police not be able to accept gifts, which I totally believe in. And now that I'm not police, they pulled that, so I can receive gifts. It's just kind of weird. It's weird that people send me gifts. It's nice, but it's weird. I think I got 50 cents last live stream. Like, woohoo, it's almost a coffee. No, it's great. I appreciate it. C. Hines wants to know if they can wear AirPods while driving, even with transparency mode on. So yes, in Ontario, you can cover both ears. There's no law requiring it. If you're deaf, if you're hearing impaired, you can drive a car. Even if you hear nothing, you're allowed to drive a car. Now, is it safe? It's less safe than if you could hear or if you had no headphones on, but there's no difference to headphones or blasting your stereo. If you can't hear because of ambient noise that you create and is filtering out onto the roads, but that's another story. If you can't hear outside because of loud music or headphones, you can't hear regardless of whether it's in your ear or in the cabin of your vehicle. Now, there's also modern vehicles with such incredible soundproofing that you can hear like classical music, the pin drop you hear, but you hear nothing outside. My dad used to have a Mercedes, and the double pane windows are wildly soundproofing or sound isolating. All right. But yes, in Ontario, cover both ears legal. Preferable to have one covered just because I prefer hearing what's going on outside. Other provinces will charge you if you cover both ears. It all depends. Massimod says, if you're arrested for suspended drive, can an officer search your vehicle? So if you're charged with driving suspended and your vehicle's being impounded, then we do something called an inventory search, and we do that to ensure that if you have any valuables in the vehicle that are going to be taken with the vehicle as it's impounded, that it's documented so that you are protected. So if you had a bar of gold in the back seat, we make a note and say there's a bar of gold in the back seat, because if that isn't there when you pick it up, you have it on the receipt that it was there when you dropped it off. What's this? Guri says, can you answer this one? Can you answer which one? I don't see the question. Did my reckless driving ticket get dropped? It happened during COVID and never got a notice. For reckless driving, what jurisdiction are you in? Because we don't have a reckless driving charge in Canada, or at least not in Ontario. Reckless driving is terminology of the United States, so I don't know what happened there. I would certainly check with the with the jurisdiction that issued them. Someone wants to know if I'm Trump or Harris. I'm definitely Trump. Just saying. Apparently, he makes great French fries. Okay, girl says, have a great night. Have a great night to you. Did you ever fly the police helicopter? I am not a pilot. And when I was just on the job, they had the helicopter. I was too new to get a invite, and now they're a shared asset. I don't think that's ever going to happen for me. I have been in a helicopter, but it wasn't a police one. Jake says, why are you retired? Personal reasons primarily, but I left at the end of August. Greg says, Toronto doesn't have a helicopter, but there is that communal thing. And we did have 3 helicopters back in early 2000 during a test project. They rented them. Oddly enough, somebody actually wanted to give them to us for free, and we said no. I think it was because it was going to have advertising on it, and they wouldn't have anything to do with that. And the New York region, I believe, accepted them. Okay. Dominic Vince says, so what's the rule on having the day runner headlight out, but the night headlight work? Daylight or running lights aren't a requirement by law. They're a requirement for manufacturers, but you don't have to have them on your vehicle. So there's no ticket for no daylight running lights. Not that I'm aware of anyway. Can my pregnant girlfriend drive on the HOV lanes? She can if she's not the only person in the vehicle, but an unborn child does not count as a human for the purposes of a human passenger being an independent person outside of the body of the mother. So once the baby's born, your girlfriend can drive with the baby and in the HOV while pregnant. The answer is no. But lots of people wish that it were different. It is what it is. Fur babies also don't count if you have a puppy in the car. They do not count as a human passenger. What do we got here? Why making license and renewing license are expensive? How expensive are they? There are fees. They keep dropping renewal things. So I don't know what the license is. It used to be like $80 for 5 years. Is it different now? I don't know. I don't think it's that much difference. And Greg Marshall says, not a person till it's born. Okay. Is underglow in a car okay in Toronto at night? It is a provincial thing. Underglow is not specifically illegal, but projecting light forward, backwards, or to the sides of various colors could violate other laws. So it's best not to do it. But underglow is not specifically listed under the HTA. But again, if you project purple light to the front, you're going to get a ticket. If you search public purple right to the back, you're going to get a ticket. My suggestion is up high in the undercarriage of the vehicle, the only thing that we should be able to see is a light, faint glow on the ground, nothing else. If I see the bulb, that would be a ticket for me. All right. I never see anyone signal to exit out of a rotary. I think you mean a roundabout. One day I exit a rotary without signaling. Well, you are legally required to signal your exit of a roundabout, or in what you've been calling a rotary. But, I see. The follow-up is, an officer pulled me over, but I saw him playing on his little computer, and he almost hit me. He was embarrassed and took it out, pulling me over. It sounds interesting, the situation that you've described. So you're suggesting the person pulled you over, the police officer pulled you over for not exiting out of a rotary because you caught them on their little computer. I don't know how that works. In terms of how you saw inside their vehicle and what they were doing. You said they almost hit you. Oh, okay. Maybe they almost hit you because you pulled out and you didn't signal? I don't know. I'm trying to extrapolate with what you've provided. In any case, you have to signal your exit. And some people are petty, so maybe they did pull you over for that reason. But I don't know. What we got here? My cousin got 2 DUIs in 6 months. Is he going to lose his license forever? I hope so. If your cousin got 2 DUIs in 6 months, that person likely has an alcohol problem, because the first DUI suspended his license for 90 days and is still before the court, and now they've lost it for another 90 days. Yeah, that suggests they have a problem with alcohol. Floyd Lightman says, smoked meat next Wednesday. Floyd, that sounds like a really good plan. I had smoked meat last week. I met up with a friend of mine and we went to a place that was awesome. And I had, what did I have? An old fashioned. It wasn't that old, but it was really good. What I miss is the Doc Brown's Black Cherry. They had a different product. They didn't have Doc Brown's, but it was still good. Hey, Sean, what does the ticket quota officers have to meet per month? There is none. There's officers who haven't written a ticket in their entire careers. They're not traffic people. If you are a traffic officer or if you're assigned to enforcement, oddly enough, while there's no specific target number, you generally write tickets because that's your job. And as a traffic officer, I wrote as many as I possibly could because I was trying to keep the roads safe. And if I made 15 one day, I was trying to hit 20 the next day just because I have personal goals, not because I have to meet them. In fact, no one provided any because there are no quotas. What is this? Do you have a stance on the super bright LEDs that some vehicles have brand new? If they're directed properly, they shouldn't be a problem. I do like the way they provide light and you can see. Thank you, Greg, for the there is no quota response. And for the thumbs up on the beard. I also like that you appreciate the smoked meat, Mr. Greg. Chaz says, what are the stages of becoming a police officer? Lie detector test, physical test, and what else? Lie detector is actually not something that is used in Ontario. Pretty much anywhere else in Canada, I think, has a lie detector, which is interesting. It's not admissible in courts, but they use it for hiring process. In any case, it's a physical test. It's an academic test. It's a mental health or a psychological test, and then you go to the college if you actually pass the hiring intake. Jackson says, can I ask an officer for their badge number and thank you? What is this? And thank you, call them good boy afterwards? That sounds like well, I'm not going to be rude, but it sounds rude what you're talking about. Can you ask them for it? You can ask them for it. You can also read their shoulder flash because that's where their badge number is and their chest has a name. But it sounds like you just want to be an instigator. So it sounds like you're not a very nice person is what it sounds like. But anyway, moving on. Or maybe I should ask, what's wrong? Why do you want it? Did someone hurt you? Okay. Wolfie's the best. Interesting. Wolfie's is good. There's a bunch of places that I like. Montreal, it's better. Seth says, traffic cop needed you yesterday. No sound. What? What do you mean no sound? Where did they try and do one and they couldn't get sound to work? I'll have to follow up with Peter. Floyd, Greg's not in the GTA. Okay. Does ATS still exist to become a cop in Ontario? I don't know if they're still there. Applicant testing services? I'm not sure. I think it's done directly with the OACP now. Hey, sir, how serious is the middle top brake light to cops? It's not. It's not a requirement. You have to have at least one brake light, and the top one isn't required by law. So if that one burns out, you don't get a ticket. You need to have one by law. Two is better. In Ontario, other jurisdictions might charge you for having less than two, but not all vehicles come with three. Okay. Let's see here. Greg says, this format is great for those of us at work during the day. Well, I always wanted to do a night shift of Ask a Traffic Cop, and now I can. Let's see here. It's 20:43. Got to wrap it up. 20 minutes longer than I thought I would. What is this? Do you think it's too early to put on snow tires? You put on snow tires when the average temperature is below 7. So once you get to below 7 degrees, am I so out of touch that I forget if it's below plus or minus? I think it's less than 7 degrees Celsius. But let's double check because it's been a while since I've talked about snow tires. Use the 7 for 7 rule. Once there have been 7 consistent days of temperatures below 7 degrees. That's what the CAA is suggesting. 7 days? I say average. So we're saying the same thing differently. Okay. If I'm hit on a scooter, what do I get? I don't think you get a prize. If you're in the city of Toronto, you're on an illegal vehicle. If you're on an electric kick scooter, I don't think you should be getting anything because you're driving something that's not legal in the city. But anyway, what do we got here? Scrolling. All right. Here we are. I caught the stuff. Caught the stuff that I was seeing. Welcome, Annie. Annie Nominus. I mean, I get it. I was just trying to see if it flowed properly. So, yeah, I wouldn't be putting on snow tires just yet. Parker says, if you have a firearm in the vehicle, I would assume it's more important to keep the hands visible, right? Yeah, you shouldn't have firearms in your vehicle. But, I mean, you could be going to the gun club or hunting or whatnot. But it's just generally speaking, bad. In the States, that's a big thing. Or more prevalent. Davica says, when I do a ride stop, why don't the police give me coupon books anymore? Apparently, the people giving the coupon books to the police to give out aren't giving them to us anymore. Do I get a ticket if I go 1 kilometer over the speed limit? You could be eligible. You would be eligible because you're breaking the law. But is it realistic that you're going to get stopped for 1 kilometer over? No, very unlikely. Is it legal to keep my trailer hitched on the F-150 when I'm not towing anything? Can a cop ticket me? No, there's nothing wrong with having that there. No ticket for having a tow. What was it called? The tongue, the receiver. Yeah, nothing is there. As long as it doesn't block the license plate. No, 2001 Akira EL. You didn't get skipped. I read your stuff, although it is back. I like that you said that you got skipped when you didn't get skipped, though. You may be an impatient, though. Actually, I actually read all three of your previous comments. All right. It does take me a while to get through all these. I saw someone going over 180 kilometers an hour on the Gardner yesterday. Why aren't these speed traps on high? So there are speed traps on highways, and then they pull people over, and then they're occupied with the people, and then those other people get away with it. Not enough cops. We need more of us. More cops on the road. That's what we need. Do I need push-ups for policing? I believe it wouldn't be a fair judgment of everything else needed. Ethan, work on push-ups. Anyone can do push-ups. Start with one a day. If you can't do that, then you got problems. Do the one, do them until you can do two. Do two until you can do four. And then just add one a day. There's an app that will guide you till you can do 100. It'll actually bring you through a program of how to build your push-ups. And push-ups are important. Strength is important. You're going to fight people as a police officer. If you can't do a push-up, how are you going to punch somebody? And you're going to have to punch somebody as a police officer because fighting is part of policing. It's not fighting. We're not fighting to see who wins. We're winning. So you have to be strong enough to actually land a punch, put someone in handcuffs, put them in a police car. It's not always fun stuff. It's not always writing tickets and talking your way out of things. Sometimes things go south and you've got to be physical. And sometimes it's just you and the other person. And if you can't do a push-up, you're probably going to lose that fight. You can't rely on your tools other than your mouth. And that's for talking before anyone says anything rude. Let's see here. Who has the right of way? The car U-turn on a green and a car turning right on a red going the same way. Well, the car with the green has the priority. The person who's making a turn on a red light has to ensure that they have to do their turn on in safety. So while the U-turn has also a responsibility to have completed theirs, I would say that it would be weighted in their favor. Sarah DG says, same here. They also think that I skipped them. I didn't skip you. I may not have seen you. Didn't skip you. Is it easy to get into Toronto Police? I don't think getting into policing in general is not easy. It's very competitive. All right. 48. 2 more minutes. Go for the pastrami. Okay, I got to take a call. Hello there. Good. Are we good to go? I'm just I'll call you. I'll text it to you in a second. I'm gonna go off the live stream that I'm hosting right now. Okay, call you back. Bye. All right. My meeting is good to go. So I am going to say good night to y'all. It's been a blast. I appreciate it. Before I before I go back and say goodbye for let's see here. Before I actually say goodbye, I'm going to read the e-jokes, the dad jokes. What is this? Okay, we talked about that. I will check out the opossum. I saw your message come in, Akela. 2 choppers back in 2000. Yes, was it 2 chopper back in 2000? Okay, this is 221. It says 2 choppers. I thought they had a third. That only 2 were in the air and 1 was down for maintenance. I thought there was 3, but you may know more than I do on this. Okay. Let's see here. Michael confirming the 7 degrees. Cool. Okay, I'm going back for the dad joke that Michael put up. My teenage daughter cannot decide to be a hairstylist or a fiction writer. She should flip a coin for heads or tails. That works. Do I have a... What was this one? I don't have the... Yeah, no, I need to add some sounds here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. I don't know when the next will be, but it'll be soon. So stay safe. Drive sober, drive safely, park legally. I used to say all that every day, and smile because it looks good on you. Take care.